Here. Here. Feel.
Oi, y'all right, lass. You were moaning in your sleep and sweating buckets besides. Rollin' of the ship got your stomach churning, has it? Don't seem like seasickness, now that I look at you. It'll be the ether, then, I reckon. Some are more sensitive to the stuff than others. See, and we ain't too far from Vilebrand now, which is chock full of etherites. No need to fret, though. You'll soon get used to it. Might as well have been bloomin' seasickness. Ship's leaping around like a demented chocobo today. I reckon I might head out on deck, get myself a breath of fresh air. Limsalominsa's still a fair way off, in case you were wondering. Seeing as you're awake and all, how's about you keep me company till we get there? Them young guns don't much care for conversation, see? Any road, Brennan's the name, and peddlin's me trade. Ah, smell that salty sea breeze. Now then, lass, judging by your unusual garments, I'd say you were one of them new adventurers. Am I warned? I knew it. Going wherever the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory, now that's what I call living. So long as you can avoid dying, I mean. Ain't no secret that adventuring's a risky business, these days especially. What was it that first attracted you to it? Glory, eh? Well, if you're willing to take on them tasks as other folk ain't, an adventurer such as yourself can win fame what coin can't buy. When you arrive in town, you'll want to report to the Adventurers Guild. You can find out everything you need to know about the adventuring business in there. Just remember, though, there are more important things than fortune and glory. Such as breathing. Ain't no profit in being dead, and that's a fact. Ship's off the starboard bow. Pirate colors. Pirates? Bloody hells. Have you no sense? Get below. What is the world coming to? Pirates firing on a ship flying llamas in colors. Bastards either have a boatload of balls, or bugger all for brains. Ye can rest easy, friends. We've made it out of cannon range, and no buccaneer's bark'll catch this flighty temptress once the wind's in her sails. That was too bleeding close. Glad one of us kept her head on her shoulders. I reckon I'd have lost mine, otherwise. If them pirates gave up the chase, we must be close to port. Let's head up on deck and have us a look, shall we? By the by, is this your first trip to Limsa Lominsa? It is? Well then, let this journeyed itinerant tell you the ins and outs of your destination. Ahem. Limsa Lominsa prides itself on being Erzia's foremost naval power. Weren't too long ago that the place was ruled by pirates, but thanks to the current admiral's civilizing influence, the city-state could almost pass for a respectable nation. You'd never guess she was once a rum-swilling buccaneer herself. Hey. Course, most folk ain't so quick to change, and with a town full of liberty-loving ruffians, you can imagine how many naysayers and troublemakers she's got to deal with, like them pirates who took a fancy to us just now. And if that weren't bad enough, I've heard the Sahagin are raiding the coast just as bold as you please. Them are the sea-dwelling beastmen the locals call fishbacks, case you didn't know. Ah, at long last. Land ho. Behold Limsa Lominsa, a nation blessed by the ocean's bounty and beloved of Ling Ling, goddess of navigation.
On a windswept isle in the southwestern corner of the realm, amidst the roiling waves of the Lotan Sea, lies the maritime city-state of Limsa Lominsa. To this haven for bandits and brigands, cutthroats and curs, seekers of both freedom and fortune, comes a lone adventurer. Lone yet not alone, for the hero's arrival has drawn the gaze of the nation's patron deity, Lim Lane. What realm-shaking fate has she descried in the churning waters of this mortal's future?
And here's where we part ways, lass. I'm off to the markets to deliver me wares, then it's on to the high road for me. Here, I want you to have this, by way of thanks for saving me arse earlier. Hey, you never did tell me your name, did you? Well, here's an idea. Become the sort of storied personage I can brag about having met, and I'll consider us square.
Through peril and hardship, discovery and triumph, may the navigator guide this brave soul on her life's voyage, till sea swallows all.
Hey, you there? I mean you. This is my district, and I make it my business to know all the scum that washes up in it. Ah, adventurer fresh off the boat, is it? Well then. Allow one of Limsa Lominsa's finest to set you on the right path. Hop to it, lass, I haven't got all day. Now then, I'm sure you're itching to explore, but adventurers are required to register their presence in the city, and without a bit of local knowledge, you're like to get your throat slit in some piss-stinking alley. So before you do anything else, bet yourself over to the Drowning Wench and enroll with the Adventurers Guild. It's not far, just head straight down this street and speak with Griefar. He'll show you how to work that big moving platform we call the Crow's Lift, and that'll take you up to the pub. Once you're there, look for a fellow by the name of Badrin. He's the proprietor of the Wench. He might curse like an ale-sodden sailor, but the man's got a soft spot for wide-eyed newcomers like yourself. He'll set you straight. Got all that? Good. Now run along, and may the navigator guide you on your journey. Welcome to Limsa Lominsa. If you've a mind to visit the Drowning Wench, the Crow's Lift will take you there. Greetings to ye, lass. What'll it be? Ah, but you ain't airfare the drink, are ye? Ye've come with a mind to try your adventurin', I reckon. Well, you'll find no shortage of work ere in Limsa. The name's Badrin, and this most hospitable of hostelries is the Drowning Wench. 'Tis also the Ome of the Venturers Guild, ere in Limsa. That's why we've got a desk specially fair handlin' guild business, and why I seem to spend more time savin' the necks o' whelps like yourself than wettin' the throats o' me regulars. Venturers have a knack fair findin' trouble, see. Not that they need it in these parts, on account of there being trouble wherever you look. If ye manage to steer clear of the fishbacks and the kobolds outside the city, the pirates on the inside will get ye instead. And if they don't manage, there's always the Garlean Empire to finish the job. Oh, no one knows what they're planning, of course, but if they're planning anything, ye can be sure it's to kill the lot of us. Aye, this town seems peaceful at a glance, but look again, and you'll see a people living in fear of what tomorrow might bring. And who can blame 'em, after everything that's happened? Erzia took a mighty blow during the calamity, but our alms weren't the only things what got wiped off the face of existence by that thrice-damned bastard of a dragon. It took our bleedin' memories, too. And no one's been able to explain it in a way as makes an ons of sense. None of the folks what saw it and lived to tell the tale seem to agree on how the tale actually goes. 'Tis all foggy, like recollections from an hard night on the ale. Ye can imagine why people might fear fair the future if they can't rightly recall the past. But there is one thing we all remember, and that's the group of venturers what laid down their lives to drag Erzia back from the brink, when she was bound fair the abyss. Well, I say we remember. Truth is, though we ain't forgotten what they did fair us, this goddamned calamity spawned memory loss robbed us of their names. It won't even let us picture their damn faces. 'Tis like staring at a gull flying in front of the sun, all ye see in your mind's eye is a shadow set against a blinding glare. And that's how every bugger describes it, by the way, give or take the odd gull. It's this what's got people calling these heroes the warriors of light. If Limsa is ever going to put this time of darkness behind it, it's going to need venturers to help banish the fear. It's going to need new heroes like the ones we lost. Maybe one day you'll be one of them. And that's why any aid we can give to a venturer is effort well spent. What say ye, lass? Ye willing to lend us your strength? Me thanks to ye, and to the navigator and all. I knew she'd steered ye my way fair a reason. Ah, but listen to me, yottering on like a sun-touched fishwife. 'Tis high time we got your mark in me book. Put your scrawl right there. Natiri Virus, is it? And a fine name it is. Congratulations. You're now an upstanding member of the Venturers Guild. You there, adventurer? You sailed in on the last ferry, did you not? The captain reported being attacked by a pirate vessel. And several witnesses have testified independently that a passenger matching your description went out on deck mere moments before the incident took place. Sending your friends signals, were you? Now hold on just a moment there, officer. You've got the wrong lass. This fine, upstanding young lady is me dear departed grandma's sister's niece's cousin's closest companion. The lass wouldn't be caught dead fraternizing with such unsavory elements. Is that right? Ahem. You are surely aware of the recent kidnappings? Respectfully, then, we cannot be too trusting of outsiders at a time when the loyalty of even our closest friends is in doubt. You make a good point there, officer, a very good point. Very wise. You needn't worry, though, I keep one eye open at all times, me and two more often than not. Now, sir, what say ye to a tankard of me finest ale afore you return to your duties, eh? Not a watered-down cup of piss like last time, I should hope? Ain't got the faintest idea what you're on about, officer. The wench might offer some of the cheapest grog this side of the Strait of Merlther, but that don't mean it won't get ye good and pickled. And look, there's a chair over there just crying out to be sat on, so kick off them heavy boots, eh? You'll have to excuse these eager bloody yellowjackets. There's been a spate of kidnappings, see, and they ain't got a clue who's behind them. Naturally, they've taken to clapping irons on anyone who looks vaguely suspicious, which means venturers, visitors, and pretty much every bugger else in this town. Don't take it personal, though. Us Lomizans can be an headstrong bunch of bastards, 'tis true, but given time, we'll grow on ye. Now, where was I? Oh I. Welcome to Limsa Lominsa, where the sea's as green as the faces of me patrons after a few too many blackbelly whiskies. Now, take a moment to gather your wits, and we'll get started with learning ye the ways of the city. Right, then. Let's start ye off nice and easy with 3 tasks what'll help ye get used to life air in Limsa. Firstly, if ye eat down a floor then point your nose to the west, you'll get an eyeful of the great glowing crystal in the middle of the courtyard. That's an aetherite, a device what can move ye from one place to another in the blink of an eye. Ain't no swifter way to travel, providing there's an aetherite where you want to go, of course. Have a chat with the yellow jacket on guard down there and you'll be treated to a lecture on the workings of the device. Before ye do that, though, remember to touch the thing. Strange as it sounds, it won't work till you avenue. Second on the list is the marketplace. You'll find weapons and armor and all your Venturan bits and pieces fair sale in the district what lies beyond the aetherite. Don't go throwing your gill around just yet, though, or you'll get fleeced quicker and ye can say, "Why's me coin purse so light?" Have a word with Swazblay instead. He's the eat of the Merchants League, by the way. Give him this old octant, and he'll treat ye well. Fare the last of me helpfulins, I suggest ye meet some fellow axe wielders at the Marauders Guild. I guarantee you'll learn a few new tricks fair swinging that eat splitter of yours if ye join their crew. Blonde Hoda at the front desk is the one to get ye started. Got all that, lass? Seeing to them 3 tasks'll take ye on a little jaunt round the city, and help ye work out where everything is. Now, I'd best be getting on. Run along, eh? Bugger it. There I go, sending ye off without telling ye somewhat crucial. That bloody calamity's made a right mess of me memory, I swear. Well, that or the ale. Any road, while you're out, if ye happen to pass any poor sods what look like they might need your help, consider giving their tale a woe a listen, eh? Sounds like a chore, I admit, but ye never know what interest and opportunities could be lurking out there, just waiting for ye to stumble on 'em. Fair example, Ninea over yonder's been casting glances at ye since ye waltzed in. Why not lend an ear and see what she has to say? Aye, you're like to find yourself. Running odd errands in the beginning, but once you build a reputation as a woman folk can trust, the jobs will get harder and the rewards more generous. If you've the time, I'd also seek the advice of the smith heir and the wench. The lads is bare that title have some fine advice fair than water just starting out in the profession. And that, my girl, is how ye go about becoming a legend among venturers.
Well, would you look at this? A shiny, new adventurer. Listen close, lass. I've some information that might just help put you on the map here in Limsa. I was passing through Bulwark Hall below not long ago and saw a bunch of herbs just scattered about on the ground. Now, I'm not entirely certain, but I think they might have been the black market wares known as dream flowers. Limsa Laminsa is a busy port, and not all the merchants that blow in across the strait are above board, if you know what I mean. How'd the plants end up in the mizzen mast? Who knows, might have been a deal gone bad. The important thing is you make a name for yourself by handing them in. Speak to Skye on Rail, and she'll get you down to the first floor. Then all you have to do is pick up the herbs, and take them to Ardskife at the Octant. Being a worldly captain, he knows a thing or two about such shady goods. You wish to visit Bulwark Hall below? The crow's lift is ready when you are.
Yes, I am all speaking. You have some herbs you wish me to examine? Yes. As you suspected, these are the highly illegal blooms known as dream flowers. They are the prime ingredient in the creation of somnus, a substance whose fragrance is said to lull the sniffer's mind into the sleep of death. Forgive me, I could not resist the jest. These herbs are not more than Alphic lavender, a common enough export from Limsa Laminsa. In fact, these probably spilled from crates that were loaded onto my very own ship. I think someone has been having a bit of fun with you, miss. But not to worry. You've learned a few things, and made a new acquaintance. Well met. Ah, another novice adventurer. Aye, Badrin has sent more than a few of your kind this way of late. I am Sundhimmel, one of the Yellowjackets tasked with keeping the peace in the city. It is also my charge to provide guidance in the use of this device. Fear not, I shall be brief. Etherites are crystalline structures that tap into ethereal energies. They are primarily used as a means to travel swiftly from one place to another. Return and teleport, the most common transportation spells, make direct use of the Etherites and their connection to the flow of ether. And as these devices are found in almost every corner of Erzia, any adventurer worthy of the name will wish to seek out and attune herself to each one. Once you have expanded your horizons beyond the walls of the city, you will soon find yourself performing the act of attunement as a matter of course. There is, however, no need for unseemly haste. The Etherites found in and around the city will be sufficient for the present, I assure you. Should you wish to learn more about Etherites or transportation magic, I will be here to answer your questions.
Ho there, adventurer. Curious about the Marauders Guild, are you? Any axe worth swinging needs 2 hands on the haft, and has a blade what can make short work of a galley's mast. That's the kind of weapon our members train to use with deceptive swiftness and all too predictable force. Are ye interested in hearing more, lass? Then why don't I give ye the short version of the guild's founding history, and we can go from there. It all started with ships, ye see. What have ships got to do with axes, ye ask? Well, building them would be pretty bloody difficult without a sturdy tool to lock down trees for timber. And since only the navigator herself knows when a ship will run afoul of a storm or worse, it makes sense for the crew's carpenter to carry an axe on board. Aye, it all started with shipbuilding and ship repair. What? Am I boring ye? Humph. As I was saying, any tool on a ship can become a weapon, and the axe was perfect for hooking yourself over the rail of an enemy vessel, letting loose in a whirl of steel, and generally laying waste to all about ye. As more seafarers took up the axe as their weapon of choice, so did the bloody art of the marauder begin to take shape, especially among pirates, where strength and skill decided your place in the world. With an eye to assembling cruiser battle-ready raiders, the pirates started teaching the proper way to wield a chopping blade to their new recruits. And that's how the Marauders Guild first came to be. But once the Galadian Accord was signed to unite the Maelstrom and the pirates against Limsa's enemies, the whole game changed. The Accord itself was a dismal failure, of course, but the Marauders Guild was never the same. It was taken over, restructured, and purged of its pirate elements. It had been reborn as an institution dedicated to naught but the teaching of axe fighting. The members of this new Marauders Guild weren't no greed-driven cutthroats, neither. They were warriors what sought to use their martial prowess for the good of society. If mastering the axe is your heart's desire, then you'll find no better arena in which to practice your swings. Think it over, then let me know if you fancy joining our ranks. I've a feeling I'll be seeing more of ye soon, lass.
A fine evening to you, madam. Welcome to the most replete marketplace in the grand realm of Erzia, where every shelf groans under the weight of wonders born from all four corners of the world. Pray browse the stalls until your eyeballs ache from ogling the overabundance of unbelievable bargains. Now, as much as I would love to elaborate upon the unrivaled quality of our merchandise, I must tend to some cargo but recently arrived at the docks. You bear a gift from Vadran? Whatever could it? Myoptin. By the navigator, I must have left it behind in the wench, along with a week's pay and several bells worth of intoxicated memories. I am most grateful to have it back. This tool is a keepsake from my days as a ship captain, you see. Needless to say, your good deed must be repaid, and what better recompense than the wisdom of a master merchant? If it is simple and sturdy adventuring equipment you seek, you need look no further than the east and west arms of Hawker's Alley. Lest you doubt, each gil you invest in arms and armor will be money well spent. Adventuring is, after all, a dangerous profession by its very nature. It goes without saying that Hawker's Alley boasts stalls specializing in the tools of every martial discipline imaginable. And within but a few steps are bazaars and apothecaries that will most amply supply all your potion and perishable needs. Our keen-eyed agents procure a frankly befuddling range of wares during their sojourns to distant shores, so it pays to become familiar with the type and price of the goods offered by each stall. Such knowledge will serve you well if your purse is light or your time is short. But verbal instruction of this kind will only profit you so much. Experience has ever been the surest teacher, if not the kindest. I invite you to explore the markets for yourself. There ye are, Natiri. Enjoy your jaunt round the city, did ye? If you mean to base yourself in Limsa Laminsa, that won't be the last time you'll visit them three places. And now you've got some idea of what's where, ye can start exploring the rest of the town. You've shown a good ear fair listening, lass. Stick with old Badrin, and you'll go far. Still in Limsa, are ye, Natiri? How'd ye fancy a trip outside the city walls? I'd like ye to visit an orchard by the name of Summerford Farms. Ever ear to the place? The owner, Staleworn, is an old mate of mine. He's got himself a crew of mostly reformed pirate types, if ye can believe that, and has been trying to bring a bit of life back to the fields after the calamity ruined the soil. He mentioned needing another or two, and your name sprang to mind. I gave ye a glowing recommendation, so make sure you work hard and impress the old bastard. You need directions? The place ain't hard to find, just take the Zephyr Gate out of the city, and follow the road northeast. You must be the adventurer Badrin promised to send along. Natiri Virus, wasn't it? You honored his word, so that's a good start. I'm Staleworn, the old bastard, as Badrin likely described me, and this here is my humble orchard. A good number of the lads and lasses working here once terrorized the high seas. And if you're wondering why I employ these scrags, well, they used to crew my pirate ship. But the calamity did for our ship, like it did so many others, and I was sore wounded into the bargain. I had to feed myself and my crew somehow, and Admiral Merlwyb's initiative to get us landlocked buccaneers working the field seemed too fine an offer to refuse. Well, it turns out you can take the pirate away from the sea, but you can't take the sea away from the pirate. A lot of my blokes just never took to tending the soil, you see. And unfortunately, the botanists I called in to train them have been wringing their hands in black despair. With so much work peeling up, I need a tougher soul like you to step in and help where it's needed. I've a mind to set you a task, Virus, but before I do, I need to be sure you're properly kitted out. Pirates don't care to parley with dandies, you understand. It might well be that the ones here have traded in their cutlasses for coulters, but they're still rogues at heart. I know a solid set of gear when I see it. Come back when you think you're more suitably equipped. Let's have a look at you, shall we? Oh. As long as you're this well covered, I won't feel any guilt throwing you to the sharks. Erstwhile buccaneers are an ornery lot. They rage in love for the sea, and care little for the laws of the land. But they respect strength, and by the looks of you, I'd say you'll have little trouble getting their attention. Ah, Virus. That aura of confidence tells me you've not been idle since last we met. I hope I've read you aright, for I've a task that requires the attention of a capable adventurer. Might that adventurer be you? Good to hear. Then I shall lay before you the sorry tale. You will have heard rumors of the abductions. Aye, citizens have been disappearing from every corner of Limsa Laminsa, as if plucked from the face of Hydalen, boots and all, by an unseen hand. And what's this got to do with Summerford Farms, you might ask? Well, that remains to be seen, but it seems a collection of right unsavory fellows with azure tattooed faces has been creeping up to the edges of the fields and spying on my yeomen. Now, I doubt anyone would enjoy being scrutinized by such savages at the best of times, but the farm hands are convinced that they're the kidnappers of rumor, come for their hides. Needless to say, they're beside themselves with worry, and their work's suffering for it, which is the very last thing I need when my old crewmen are still getting used to their new jobs. 'Tis a struggle to get them to leave the farmhouse of a morning. That is, as they say, where you come in. Would you be willing to investigate these tattooed thugs for me? Good lass. The sooner we get to the bottom of this, the sooner this place will start to resemble a working farm again. I suggest you begin by having a look around Seasong Grotto. If reports are to be believed, our unwelcome visitors have occupied the place. Be careful, though, Virus, I couldn't say for sure what manner of miscreants we're dealing with here. If they are the kidnappers, well, just be on your guard, all right?
I am the waves that bear, I am the winds that guide. I am the evening stars, I am the morning sky. I am born of the sea, and there shall I die. Thus reads the sailor's requiem, carved into yonder stone. Such words well describe the manner in which the citizens of Limsa Lominsa live their lives. It is both a litany against misfortune for those out on the waves, and a prayer that the souls of those who perish on land might find their way back to the sea. Ah, you are the adventurer I've seen around Summerford Farms. I thought myself on the trail of the kidnappers, but it would seem I have missed my mark. Or perhaps not. As I suspected, the etheric disturbance here is no natural occurrence. Nor is it a coincidence that the two of us should come here in search of those responsible for the disappearances, only to be attacked. But who stands to benefit from the keeping of this secret? Oh, such thoughts must wait. Let us attend to the task at hand, unpleasant though it be. Crystal Bearer. I am Heidelin, all made one. A light there once was that shone throughout this realm, yet it hath since grown dim. And as it hath faltered, so hath darkness risen up in its stead, presaging an end to life. For the sake of all, I beseech thee, deliver us from this fate. The power to banish the darkness dwelleth in the crystals of light. Journey forth and lay claim to them. By thy deeds shall the crystals reveal themselves to thee. Only believe, for the light liveth in thy heart. Shine thy light on all creation.
Awake again, are we? Aha! The poor creature's fury was kindled with cruel forethought. See this blade? I found it in the Gubu's back. I have seen knives of this kind before. They are most commonly used for the cutting of rope. It would appear our culprits are seafaring men of some persuasion, piratical being the most probable. In any event, you seem much recovered from your sudden affliction. I confess, I was rather taken aback when you collapsed at the very moment of our victory. Mayhap a surfeit of ether? I beg your pardon. A towering crystal. I'm sure I don't... Oh! Well, well. This has been a day of unexpected revelations. I must continue my investigation. In the meantime, I suggest you deliver this knife to your patron, along with a warning concerning the pirate's probable involvement in this murky business. The days ahead promise little rest, I fear. May our paths cross again, under the light of the crystal.
Virus, right glad am I to see you safely returned. My lads were all gabbing about hearing what sounded like all seven hells breaking loose near the grotto, and I feared I'd sent you to your death. If you were in the middle of that commotion, I hope it yielded something of interest. I'd hate to think you'd risked your life for naught. A blade pulled from the back of a creature you slew at the cave, eh? I'd agree that such a knife would be part of any seafaring man's kit. I'm starting to think that these ruffians are pirates, come to lure my farmhands back to a life of plunder. Chances are, they didn't take kindly to your appearance on their doorstep, and set a matin gubue on you. Aye, the pirates have been adding to their numbers of late. I'd best warn the lads and lasses in my employ to be on guard against their schemes. You met someone else at the grotto? A woman with a strange contraption? Ah, Yishtala. She's been in Limsa Lominsa for a good while now. Her studies of the ether often bring her out to Summerford, so her presence at the grotto is hardly unusual. She's an odd-looking lass, I grant you, but she's not the kind to associate with kidnappers. You may take my word for that. Where trust should be lacking is in those yeomen of mine who have yet to wholly relinquish their pirate pasts. The temptation to return to the free and easy life of a buccaneer may prove too strong to resist. You have my thanks, Virus. If it weren't for the efforts of stalwart adventurers like yourself, this farm would be in a far worse state than it is. Just you keep on lending your talents to those in need, eh? Help bring Limsa the brighter future she deserves. That sea sloth Severin and his lot, never around when there's work to be done. I'd sooner hire you for the sake of getting things done, but then the rapscallions would never learn. Round them up and let them know that Stalehorn would like a word. And don't take no for an answer. Work? Ha! Can't work when me hands are full lifting this mug. Ye know, I'd wager me last gill ye'd never guess what I'm drinking. Well, you're right about the swill part. I reckon it might be worth a day of doing Stalehorn's chores if it'll afford me a taste of proper grog. Axes were made for splitting skulls, not stumps. You know what I did in my sailing days? You bet your bosom I did, lass. Aye, those were the days. I reckon now I'll have to be satisfied taking my axe to the trees. So, Stalehorn sent you. And what do you reckon I say to that? Damn right. Didn't get where I am by taking guff from any glorified gardeners, but I suppose I could see what he wants to get him off my back. Aye, Severin. You the old man's errand girl, now? Tell my dear old captain not to wet his britches. I'll be along. Oh, and just so we're clear, I don't care for landlubbers. Go find the chocobo you rode in on, and ride on out. How am I supposed to work on an empty stomach? Go on, have a guess at what I had for breakfast. Wah, gods, how'd you know? It's my breath, ain't it? It probably smells as wooden as the food tasted. But I know why you're here. I'd just as soon get some real food in me, but I ain't one to reject a summons from the captain. You continue to impress, lass. All but Severin are accounted for. It's no fault of yours he squirmed out. I've let that worm wriggle through my fingers more times than I can count. But rest assured, the next time I see him, I'll put him squarely in the dirt, where all such worms belong. Pains me to say, but all the gil in the world can't buy loyalty. There are some, like you, who can be trusted. But then there are others. Until now, I've had no choice but to rely on that charlatan Severin, even though I am full aware he's been doing shady deals behind my back. More than once I've heard tell of improper trading with goblins. I wouldn't be the least surprised if that were happening right now. Not a bell ago, a sack of oranges vanished, as did Severin. I want you to find and confront the bastard for me, Virus. I'm sure there's wrongdoing afoot, so be sure to doubt anything that comes out of his mouth. What's this now? Stalehorn sent you for the oranges? Huh. So the old bugger had known all this time. Arg, what does it matter anyway? Listen, you're one of those goody-goody adventurer types, right? Go rescue me mates from those double-dealing goblins. They're just over yonder by the bonfire. Severin sent you. Huh. The way he flew out of here, I was sure he'd sold us down the river. If you hadn't come, my dodo would have been cooked. Cooked dodo. I owe you one. Would have gotten away myself if not fair Severin shoving me aside. You saved me mates, and for that, I owe you. Suppose I should be ashamed I couldn't clean up my own mess. But a pirate knows no shame. I've no qualms about going back on my word. I'm only giving you this sack because I like the cut of your jib. Take it to Asim, and send him my regards. What have we here? A delivery from Summerford Farms, and a scheduled. Ha! There's a first time for everything. Well, look at that. Not a single one missing, either. About the only things not here are those bagmen, and I don't miss them one bit. Here's Stalewern's payment in full. With you, I can trust it'll reach him. Back in one piece. That's a relief. How did you fare, Virus? Ah, this is what I'm in for. Looks to be all I was owed, all right. Though, I'd be telling you false if I claimed I had not held out more hope for Severin. I was even willing to overlook the skimming off the top, but to sell us all short in favor of those god's-forsaken goblins. You'd do well to mind yourself around that two-guild chief. If he'd leave his own mates for dead, there's no telling what he'd do to you. Blessed. At this rate, the crops will never be ready for harvest. If only we had Blacklow. Just a bit could send our stocks soaring. I'll bet Roquita knows where you might find some. Perhaps you might pay her a visit in the orchard?
That gherkin's got a head of cabbage if he thinks I'm fetching him any blacklow. But if you dare to pinch some from the cookpot, then be my guest. Just mind you don't get trampled upon by the aurochs that dwell there. Once you've 3 bushels worth, take the black loam to Prual at Tiller's Rest. He'll know what to do.
Arg, even the weeds wither and die in this desolate dirt. But a bit of this black loam ought to change all that. I haven't seen any in ages. Gathering black loam's not for the weak of will, nor the weak of stomach, eh? Ha ha ha. Oh, don't tell me Gherkin and Roquita neglected to mention where black loam comes from. Well, surely you figured it out on your own from the cloying stench. It comes from the aurochs lair, of all places. Ahem, well, why dwell on who misled whom about what? What matters is that your efforts have brought us the black loam, and we can expect a bountiful harvest as a result. Thank you. Confounded pirates. They know nothing of tillin', only killin'. Stealin' our shovels to melt and forge into axes, of all things. They're biting the hand that feeds 'em, the mangy mongrels. I'd love to teach those curs a lesson in obedience myself, if I hadn't sworn to Stalewern that I wouldn't fight no more. So I need you to bring back our farm tools, and make sure those dogs reap what they've sown. I wonder what those sea dogs will try and steal when there's no harvest. Ah, good to see the tools back, and in serviceable condition. Which will be more than we can say of Severin when we get our hands on him. The wretch likely had a role in the theft. Spied him meeting the pirates in secret, I did. I couldn't care less if the wastrel won't work, but when he consorts with cutpurses that take our tools away, he's crossed the line. Stalewern ought to know what sort of scalawag he's dealing with. Take word to him, would you? Pirates making off with our tools? Froal did well not to take matters into his own hands. Last thing I need is blood on my crops. But I'll be damned if Severin thinks he can take us for fools. His treachery won't go unpunished. I've come to expect a great deal from you, lass, and you've never once let me down. Yet what I'd ask of you now goes beyond aught I've asked before. Would you hear my plea all the same? It eases my mind to have your ear. You're no doubt familiar with that scoundrel Severin by now. Well, the schemin' scapegrace is at it again. Since that letter came for him, he's been skulking about in that manner he does when he's up to no good. Now he's rounded up his rogues and buggered off, with nary a word to anyone. I've grown accustomed to his insolence, but something tells me this is different. It ain't exactly damning, but when last I had words with him, he didn't look defiant so much as hunted. I can't help thinking he's gone looking for trouble and found more than he wanted. So I was hoping you might hunt his sorry hide down and drag it back here before it's too late. The ungrateful little cur bites me every chance he gets, but I can't quite bring myself to cut him loose. I suppose he reminds me a bit of my younger self. Suffice it to say, I'd rather he didn't come to a sticky end. As for how to find him, I'd try asking Grynuda at the Aetheryte. She was the last one to see him. I dare say she'll be able to tell you where he was headed.
Nothing that passes through those gates escapes my notice. I saw the Rouser and his rabble set out for Woad Whisper Canyon not long ago, singing about drinking themselves stupider. Cheeky sods said I should join them. I told them I'd rather shrivel up than sip whatever it was that had pickled their brains. If you find the idle swine, be sure and give them a cuff round the ear from me, will you?
Of all the dirty, deceitful, downright dastardly deeds that slippery bastards done. Claiming to take the lads out for a drink, only to lead us straight into a bloody trap. It don't get no lower than that. Course, I've learned to stay a step ahead of old Severin, so I was ready, but the others weren't so lucky. You've got to help them. My axe may as well have been a white flag for all the good it did. Hope you fare better, or the sorry bastards in there are done for. Severn might have got us into this mess, but I ain't about to let him give his life for us. I'd sooner bow to a fishback than be in that conniving bastard's debt. 2 arms. A true name. You betray even yourself, Severn. Huh. We were prepared to overlook the matter of your desertion on the condition that you provided us with suitable replacements. That was the agreement. Yet your latest change of heart leaves your debt to us unpaid. Few are they who betray the Serpent Reavers twice. You will not do so a third time. Cowering behind your protector will only delay the inevitable. Honorless wretch, your life is all you have left. And worthless though it be, we shall take it. O mournful voice of creation, send unto me a creature of the abyss, my thrall to command, that I may smite mine enemies. That the golem could be vanquished. That woman is no ordinary adventurer.
The snake slithered away. I am only glad he did not have the chance to sink his fangs more deeply into you. Those pirates do not belong to any of the known Normans and factions. Whom then do they serve? The beast tribes? Surely not, but the timing of their appearance coincides all too neatly with the recent surge in Sahagin and Kobold activity. Something is afoot. The question is, what? Could it be that the tribes are planning to summon their primals? 12 help us if it should prove so. Limsa would be hard-pressed to keep a single primal at bay, let alone 2. But all is yet speculation. I must needs find evidence. The seas continue to rise, while the lesser moon continues to fall. And ill by ill, the world becomes ever more unlike itself. It is as Louisoix foretold. The coming of chaos has rendered the laws of nature mutable, blurring the boundary between the material and ethereal planes. Little now stands between us and the primals. But they are not here yet. Though time be against us, hope shall ever be on our side. Never did the creed of Sharlayan ring more true. Never did I dream that I would possess the means to see ether, yet now that I do begin to take it for granted. How swiftly do the wonders of Sharlayan seem commonplace. Here, for you. Have you come for the festivities? Today the Maelstrom officially makes that great hole in the sea its training ground. Join in the celebrations. Wait. A disturbance in the etheric flow. But whence does it emanate? Seasong Grotto, perhaps? What have we here? Can you walk? "'Tis I. Regrettably, no. He eluded me. Understood. I will inform the Commodore." "You collapsed from your exertions. Are you suitably recovered?" Severin here has apprised me of all that transpired. His account shed some light upon how you came to be attacked by a golem of all things. A golem is a mindless automaton, inert save when commanded to be otherwise. Common pirates could not hope to control such a thing, so arcane are its workings. But then these tattooed wretches are no common pirates. They are the minions of the Sahagin. As to their purpose, well, I shall get to the bottom of it. But first I must escort Severin back to his place of employment. I dare say Stalin will be wondering what has become of him. And you too, for that matter. I will bear word to him of your preservation, but I am certain he would like to thank you in person. Pray pay the man a visit. Ah, he told me of you, but perchance he did not tell you of me. My name is Yishtala. I am a naturalist of sorts, surveying the ether in the hope that it might offer up some clue as to our predicament.
I'd say I owed you my life, but that don't cover it. If it weren't for you, my friends would be dead, and all. 'Tis a debt I can never repay. But I'll not make things worse by running away. Take me to Summerford Farms, and I'll face the consequences.
For reasons I cannot fathom, you seem. Forgive me. Mayhap we shall have a chance to speak again when I have marshalled my thoughts. Until our paths next cross, farewell.
Lo, I knew you'd return. Yishtala delivered Severin a bit ago. Tales of your heroic deeds precede you. The rest came shuffling back, too, the lot of them sporting the same haunted expression. It's me who's to blame for that and the rest. I was once a serpent reaver. A thrall to the Sahagin? 7 hells. Reavers may look and sound and act like pirates, but they're not but the fishbacks flunkies. Us pirates ain't much for laws, but there's things we won't do. We've got a code, see, but the Reavers have never followed a word of it. A few years back, they started snatching law of it in Lomizans. I'd only just taken my oath when our captain bent the knee to his new Sahagin masters. I knew I had to get away. So I crept off one night, got myself a new name, and found myself a new home, Summerford Farms. Trouble is, secrets don't stay secret for long round here, and word soon spread, all the way back to the sea. The penalty for desertion is death, but the Reavers offered me a way out instead, my freedom in exchange for my mates. The letter. I dunno what I was thinking. I wasn't bloody thinking. Too busy soiling myself. But you got there in the end, didn't you? When the time came, you made the right decision. The men say little to me, but I hear 'em talk of how you stood up to the Reavers at the last, of how you tried to give your life to save theirs. Be that as it may, no deed, however good, can atone for the crime of betraying your brethren. I know that, I do. That's why I'm going to hand myself over to the Yellow Jackets. I'll bring shame to the farm no more. You'll hear no arguments from me. Each man must sail according to his own moral compass. I just hope yours guides you back here someday. There will always be a place for you at Summerford Farms, lad. And I'll always be in your debt, Staleworm. I owe you a debt too, Natiri. Not once have you let me down. Thank you for saving the men of my farm. If I could ask one more favor of you, it'd be this: tell Badrin what's happened, from start to finish. I'm certain he'd put in a good word for Severin if he knew the whole story. And he's one of the few people I know who the Yellow Jackets will listen to. Well, I reckon I've asked all I can possibly ask of you. Safe travels, lass.